And you guys have a lot of definitions which may or may not make a lot of sense to you. I'm going to make it really easy. Cultivar is two words that are kind of cut in half and then smushed together. And the first one comes out of this part of the word, cult, and it's short for cultivated. And the second part comes out of this word, and it's variety. So a cultivar is a cultivated variety. What does variety mean? What do you think, Zach?
It means like
different kinds of something, yeah. So if you get the variety pack of, I don't know, candy bars. Cover your mouth with you on, please. You know, the variety pack of socks. Your socks are different colors. So a cultivated variety is a variety that didn't just naturally occur. It didn't evolve on its own. To cultivate means to tend, to farm, to raise, to grow, to breed. A cultivated variety is a variety that somebody developed. Somebody bred this plant variety. So we're going to look at a list of cultivars of kale, because I love kale. So this is from the Fedco website, and every one of these that you see is a cultivar of kale. They're all the same species. So we have red Russian kale, and we have red boar kale, and Russian frills, and scarlet, and Vatt's dwarf blue curly Scotch, and white Russian, and winter boar. Hey Zach, focus buddy, focus. Are you listening to this? Are you zoning out and just staring at things?
No.
Okay. They're varieties that somebody developed and bred. So that's a cultivar. So when you wrote down your seed names, and you wrote down pumpkin, small sugar pie, which part is the cultivar name?
Second one.
Right, small sugar pie is the cultivar name. So in this kale, Vate's dwarf blue curly Scotch kale, what's the variety name? Yeah, Vate's dark blue, dwarf blue curly Scotch kale. That's the variety name, the cultivar name. So when you're comparing two cultivars, they have different characteristics that somebody bred for them. This is like breeds of dogs. Dogs are in essence cultivars.
So they come in different breeds.
They come in different breeds. These are like different breeds of kale. Does that make sense?
Yeah.
Okay. So, one of the distinctions that you'll see, let's look at some of the vocabulary in here. I'm going to zoom in on the red Russian. Let me select this, because I love red Russian kale. So on the red Russian, do you see another vocabulary word in the description for red Russian kale? I'm going to read it. Red Russian, 60 days. Open pollinated.
Open pollinated.
Open pollinated is a vocabulary word. What does open mean?
Not closed.
Not closed off.
Outside.
Okay, to be outside, like out in the wild. Great wide open.
Or to not be closed by something.
Well, to not be closed off. Okay. What does pollinated mean?
Pollen is
Sex. It's plant sex. Pollination is about making baby plants. So pollen, from when a boy plant and a girl plant fall in love. Plant pollen, which is tree sperm, plant sperm, travels to the flower of the female flower, and they make a baby. And the baby is a seed. Seeds are plant babies. Open pollinated means that they can do it all on their own. They can breed in the wild.
Wow.
If you leave them in your garden and you don't give them any supervision or chaperoning, next thing you know, they'll be making babies. They'll go to flower and they'll make babies right there in the garden. Ah, it's scandalous!
What? Oh, yeah.
In the garden. All over the place. Tons of it. I'm serious. Flowers are all about sex. That's all flowers are.
Like, no, they don't do nothing else than that.
Nope. Their whole goal is to make more babies.
Wow.
And, well, it's not their goal. They don't care. That's a useful side benefit for us.
Yeah,
but
plants don't care.
plants don't care if you live or die. They don't care if you breathe or not. But they poop out a lot of oxygen. It's a nice waste product that they... Who knows? Can't answer that. Neither a theologian nor a plant. So, not qualified. Okay, so open pollinated things can reproduce on their own. They don't need any help. They are two of the same species. They're just having sex right out in the open, in the garden. Nobody is controlling it. Nobody is breeding them. They're just in the wild. They're open pollinated. Nobody knows. It could be going on right now. Well, probably not right now because it's pretty cold out there and they're not in flower. But in the summer, when they flower, they just have sex. They have babies, and their babies look like them. Okay. Now let's look at a hybrid. Are there any hybrid kales here? Anybody see one?
Hybrid kale would be frills.
Is Russian frills? Nope. Open pollinated. These are all open pollinated.
What's a hybrid?
Well, that's what we're going to talk about.
It'd be the offspring of two plants of different breeds.
Okay, so let's put in another picture and see if we can find a hybrid. There we go.
Doesn't hybrid mean like multiple of?
Well, hybrid means something. So there's dark boar kale, which I grew last year. I was not real impressed with.
What happened?
Well, I'll tell you about it a little bit.
It's top quality.
It's just fine. It didn't do as well for me as the Red Russian. There we go. So dark boar is a hybrid. It's a hybrid. What do you, from your definitions, from the work that you did, what do you know about hybrids?
Offspring of two plants of different breeds.
Hybrid, I got the offspring of two different plants, species, or variety of plants.
Okay, variety.
Hybrids are created when the pollen.
Okay, so open pollinated, we said one red Russian kale plant falls in love with another red Russian kale plant.
They have
No.
Red Russian-
And they have red Russian kale babies, right? Yeah.
Wait.
So they're all the same species, they're breeding, and all their babies look alike. A hybrid, we take, a Nero de Toscana and a red Russian kale, and we take the sperm from one and put it on the pollen from one, and we put it with the eggs of the other, and what we get is a plant that doesn't look like either of its parents necessarily.
So they wouldn't do it naturally?
It could happen. You can have, when they're all in flower and nobody's watching. But what hybrid typically means is some plant breeder said, ooh, I want to take this plant and breed them and see what we get.
So basically it's not naturally done.
It's not a naturally occurring species.
Forced by humans.
Yeah, open pollinated breeds are also bred by humans. But a hybrid doesn't look like either of its parents. It's different than its parents. So the open pollinated, they're going to reproduce true. The babies are going to look like...
Animals too?
We're just talking about plants right now. It gets too complicated when we get to animal species. But, sure, with dogs. So here's did anybody here ever bred dogs?
My grandma had
Okay, what kind of dogs did she breed? German
German
Shepherds?
Huskies. And I don't know what else she bred.
We bred with blue ticks with a, it was not a blue tick, just blue ticks.
Okay, so you're breeding blue ticks. The parents are both blue ticks, the offspring are blue ticks. That's like open pollinated.
Oh, and then our dog Shiloh, he was a some black and white dog.
Okay,
He got Angel, the female blue tick, pregnant.
okay. So maybe, let's say he was a border collie.
Oh, he was, yeah.
Okay, border collie and a blue tick, and
What is that?
their offspring is a hybrid.
It was pretty
And the offspring isn't going to look like a blue tick, and it's not going to look like a border collie. It's going to look like some mixture of its parents. That's what hybrid plant varieties are. But in hybrid plant varieties, we intentionally take two different plant varieties and breed them together. Maybe we want, the flower color of the dark boar kale, and maybe we want the curly leaves from the Vates blue dwarf. So we want some characteristics of each, so we create hybrids. You can't breed hybrid seed and get babies from it. If it reproduces, the offspring are not going to look like the parent. Right. You're not.
Like another.
They're going to look like something else. There could be what genes in there. Okay. Yeah. Mendel.
You guys remember those? I know you did this last year. My William Squares.
Did we do?
I don't know what this is from.
Here is an heirloom arugula, Sylvetta, 21 days for baby, 50 days mature, open pollinated. A wild form of arugula with very deeply lobed dark green leaves. And the full product details go on to say that this has been grown in Italy for hundreds of years, and it came to this country with Italian immigrants. So some little old Italian lady, when she was getting ready to emigrate to this country, very carefully packed her garden seeds.
So basically, it was against. It was against the law.
No.
That's you in your past life.
Yeah, could have been. I have seeds from a woman, friend of a friend who I used to know, and they came from Italy. It's a flat bean. It's an Italian Roma
Could
bean,
be them.
and well, this is a green bean, and her great grandmother brought them with her when she emigrated to this country. Huh?
Did you cook one?
No, I'm growing them. I'm gonna grow them out. I'm gonna plant them. Huh?
You growing them right now?
I'm not. No, but I plan to plant them in the spring. I've got them in the
How
refrigerator.
long you had them?
Too long. I may have risked them not being viable anymore. But they've been kept in the fridge, so that's.
That's a little bit better.
They have been scarified well, so I'm probably going to soak them and attempt germination trials in the spring. So, hey, look at you. You guys actually know some of these words, like, hey, you've scarified them, Good job.
Thank you.
I love it when stuff sticks. Okay, so all heirlooms are open pollinated. They're never hybrids, because these are things that people have saved seed from year after year after year. Their plants go to seed in the garden, they bolt, and they save the seeds from them. Okay, so that was heirloom, hybrid, and open pollinated and cultivar. Actually, maybe bolt is a better one for this. So how do you get from this to seeds?
Yeah, bold.
It has to go to flower. It has to flower, which is to bolt. Very often, when we talk about a plant bolting, we mean that it's like lettuces are notorious for this. It suddenly goes from being like nice lettuce that you're cutting leaves for to eat to suddenly it's got this flower stalk and the leaves get real bitter. Yeah. It bolted. It bolted.
So it went bad.
Well, no, it's making seeds, and now the leaves are no longer tasty because that part of its life is over. Now it's in the part of its life where it's going to make babies.
And then more food.
And then those babies will grow and make more food. Yes. But remember, the plant doesn't care if you eat or not.
Well, why would you take it back? It's going to make more.
Well, it's not. It's once they've bolted, I mean, you can cut the flowers off, but once they get to a certain age, they have a natural lifespan.
Like us.
Yes. So,
Wow.
in the case of basil, it's, probably 6 months or a year. Much faster.
I've drawn that out for a long time.
Yeah, you have.
Plants.
So, to bolt just means when it goes to flower and then it produces seeds. Just like you bolt out of the door here at 2:30. They hurry up and they make seeds. The one other kind, we could look at a picture of the hardiness map. Please tell me I took a picture of it. I did not.